Welcome to the show today. Guys, you are not ready for this bombshell news that has been released today. Not only is Donald Trump's dream team coming together with Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, JD Vance, and now Rfk Jr., but now because of the additional fraud, waste, and abuse that they have found, there is another investigation that has been started into the Biden-Mayorkas plot, guys. This is huge. You're not ready for this, guys. Doge discovers the Biden-Mayorkas illegal migration funding machine. So, funneling money through FEMA to get illegal migrants over. This whole scheme has been found out today, guys. Been released by the Doge team. Now Pam Bondi and her team are taking it over. And this is just the start. We're at the tip of the iceberg. Trump is officially terminating all of the 93 federal prosecutors that were appointed by Biden. Elon Musk's Doge team has discovered this huge Biden-Mayorkas immigration funding machine that was all by design to get as many illegal immigrants into the country using taxpayer dollars, flying them in. All these flights, all these other countries. The reason we were giving so much in USAID and other countries because we were trying to get people in to the United States. On top of that, Chuck Schumer has blatantly come out and said that there is waste in the federal government. Yeah, he said that. Trying to get someone on board with Doge. Because today in Congress, hear me guys, I hope you're sitting down. Testimony came before the Doge committee. Haywood Telcove said there is over $1 trillion a year in fraud in the government. $1 trillion, guys, dollars every year. He says, we know how to fix it. We know what we must do, but the government has never allowed us to fix it. They want us to continue paying our taxes like there's nothing wrong, but the Democrats are trying to subside it. They're trying to keep Doge and Elon out. They have introduced a new bill trying to pass called the Taxpayer Data Protection Act. They want to keep out Doge and Elon from accessing any federal government financials or being able to do any financial audits. If there is no more blatant trying to block the fraud, waste, and abuse than this Taxpayer Data Protection Act, I don't know what is. They're saying we have to protect the taxpayers' privacy. But at the same time, if they do this, and they get just 3 Republicans to vote with them, Doge and Elon Musk have to stop all the financial audits and all the digging into every single federal department. This is how desperate they are. Also, we found $80 million of federal money was removed from the New York City's bank because it was allocated towards illegal aliens. The New York City comptroller, who manages the money, said that we need that money back because it's already been allocated towards migrants. And we don't have enough money from the city. We need federal money. This is the type of insane thinking. I can't even comprehend why they're doing this. And Trump dropped the biggest bombshell news for the External Revenue Service today, guys. President Trump announced reciprocal tariffs for countries currently charging the United States. Every single country, no matter what tariff they have on us, we are going to charge them a reciprocal tariff. He said, and I quote, "We will charge them no more, no less." In other words, they charge us a tax or tariff, we charge them the exact same tax or tariff. Very simple. This is huge External Revenue Service gains, guys. This is going to put us so much in the positive when it comes to the surplus of our budget each year. Thank you so much to everybody that is watching, guys. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. Thank you to all of our members of the channel, guys. We couldn't do this without you. And thank you so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation and supports our channel, guys, with the comments, with sharing it, guys. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help so much, guys. Let's hit 2,000 likes on stream, guys. We can do it. I've got a dang good show for you today, guys. This is history in the making. What you are seeing is history. Check this out.
Them Newsbusters, absolutely amazing group over there. Follow them on X, Facebook, and elsewhere. They put together this little 1-minute compilation proving to you the media cannot change. They will not change. They will continue to get wrecked. because for them, what's old is new again. This constitutional crisis thing they're talking about right now with Donald Trump in his first 3 weeks as the president, you think any of this is new? For those of you listening on audio only, Apple and Spotify, what you're going to hear in the beginning is 2016, 2015, that election cycle, and then you're going to hear later 2020. And there's a crazy thing about what you're going to hear. It all sounds the same because it is. Check this out.
They are fomenting a constitutional crisis.
Yes. Are we staring down the barrel of a constitutional crisis?
This is an existential constitutional crisis.
We're now like one subway stop from a real constitutional crisis.
We are in effect, a constitutional crisis.
Warnings of an impending constitutional crisis ripped through the nation's capital.
There are experts who are saying this is a constitutional crisis.
We are at a dangerous time in our history, a constitutional crisis.
New warnings of a constitutional crisis just weeks into Trump's second term.
The stage is set for a constitutional crisis.
Could this signal the start of a constitutional crisis?
Legal experts say our country could be headed toward a constitutional crisis.
Why are we better than them at their own business and media? Because we lift and shift. We adopt. And I mean this as a positive. We're like Plato. We adjust and adopt to pressure points. Not these idiots. They don't have it in them. They have this show your thing where they have to continue to show their ass to the American people, even though everyone's like, please stop, I don't want to see that. They can't. They're engaged in an extinction burst of behavior. They simply can't stop. Thank you to the guy who tweeted the Coke machine to me the other day. You get it. By the way, more FOing. Looks like it just happened. I can't even keep up. Thank you, guys. Look at these guys. They're so fast. RFK's now been confirmed. Tulsi last night. This is during the show.
Make America
it's just
healthy
an
again,
endless
baby.
Litany of FOing it never. Why we keep winning and we are the media now. Trump has hired the freaking Avengers. He's hired the X-Men. He's got RFK. He's got Tulsi. He's got Ratcliffe at CIA. He's got Ellis as the deputy at CIA. He's got Cash coming in at FBI. The more continues. It is not going to stop. He also has the best press secretary I've seen, and I can't believe it. She's even better than I thought, and I knew she was good. This constitutional crisis, do you think she was going to let this go at the briefing yesterday? No, she wasn't. Check this out.
Many outlets in this room have been fear-mongering the American people into believing there is a constitutional crisis taking place here at the White House.
Call
I've been
it
hearing
out.
those words a lot lately. But in fact, the real constitutional crisis is taking place within our judicial branch, where district court judges in liberal districts across the country are abusing their power to unilaterally block President Trump's basic executive authority. We believe these judges are acting as judicial activists rather than honest arbiters of the law. And they have issued at least 12 injunctions against this administration in the past 14 days, often without citing any evidence or grounds for their lawsuits. This is part of a larger concerted effort by Democrat activists and nothing more than the continuation of the weaponization of justice against President Trump.
I love my wife to death, and in the most platonic way possible. We love you, Carol. We all love you. We all love you. Justin, do you love her? She's amazing. He's in love. Very platonically. I don't want to be weird. We love you. This woman's amazing. You think she's going to let this constitutional crisis crap go?
Nope.
No, she's not. No. She's like the freaking Avengers press secretary. If Captain America had a press secretary, look like... I want you to remember something. Donald Trump does something no politician I've ever seen. I'm not telling you he doesn't exist, and I'm talking globally, by the way. He may.
Guys, thank you so much for your support, guys. We got almost 1,000 people watching already. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much.
I just don't know him or her. No politician I know has ever done what Donald Trump does, which is ask a very simple question. Hey, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I ran into a guy a long time ago when I was running for office. He was a county executive in Howard County. This guy, Chuck, nice guy. I think he passed. But he told me something once that was very powerful about government. He said, don't ever forget with government that there's no power in yes. If you tell people yes, they have no reason to bribe you. You get the point? You want to tell people no, that way they come to the table with, campaign funds to basically bribe you to getting to yes. Government will always grow because there's no power in telling people yes. You want to tell people no. So the government grows and bureaucracies grow because there's power in it. Donald Trump is the first guy in eons, the first guy in a long time to say to people, wait, why the hell are we doing this? I could give you 100 examples. Gaza, the Abraham Accords, moving the embassy to Jerusalem. Remember with the Abraham Accords? They told him, you can't get any peace deal in the Middle East, any kind of economic accords between these two countries. You can't solve the Palestinian issue. He said, I'm just going to try anyway. And it was crazy. He actually did it. This is important because he's doing it again. And he's doing it through his deputies in the cabinet, one of them being our now excellent defense secretary, Secretary Pete Hegseth. Pete's overseas right now, and Pete is shaking up. And I mean, if there's an apple cart, this guy's tossing it over. He's like, hey, NATO, which is, of course, is our alliance with other countries designed to defend against the prior Soviet Union and Warsaw Pact. He's saying with NATO, I think it's grossly unfair that the United States is paying all of this money to defend you guys when you guys are the ones at risk from a Russian invasion like Ukraine, and you're not paying as much yourself. You're looking at it, that makes sense. No one said it before Trump. Here's Pete saying, you know what, 2% of GDP for defense, that's not enough. We want 5.
5, baby.
You're damn right we do. And the world is losing their minds. I'll show you what I mean coming up next, but check this out first.
Part of this is speaking frankly with your people about how this threat can only be met by spending more on defense. 2% is not enough. President Trump has called for 5%, and I agree. Increasing your commitment to your own security is a down payment for the future, a down payment, as you said, Mr. Secretary, of peace through strength. We're also here today to directly and unambiguously express that stark strategic realities prevent the United States of America from being primarily focused on the security of Europe.
To all the people who lost their minds over this, again, in the quote from Axios, hyperventilating media, oh my gosh, this is crazy. We're not defending NATO. NATO's not defending NATO. What are you talking about?
Guys, let me tell you this. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are the best. I'm telling you what, we are growing this family. But guys, I got to show you some of this stuff. We bring the receipts, everybody. Doge discovers the Biden-Mayorkas illegal migration funding machine. They knew what they were doing. They were stealing from taxpayers. They're funding these illegal immigration. And guess what? Pam Bondi is on it. She is ready to kick some butt. She's going to go after Mayorkas. She's going to go after Biden for all this stealing from FEMA, guys. Money that was supposed to go to people in North Carolina, people in Maui, people now, wherever there's a disaster, they took that and they funneled it for illegal migration. Thank you so much, Brian McGavick, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, did you look at the midlife stockman? We got RFK. Yes, we got Rfk Jr has been confirmed. And thank you so much, Straight Shooter, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Guys, this is what's happening right now in Congress. What you are about to see is a testimony that has happened that there is over $1 trillion in waste of your taxpayer dollars every single year. Listen to this.
How much money do you calculate is wasted due to waste, fraud, and abuse in the entitlement programs each year?
Yeah, my number right now between federal, state, and local government is you can save $1 trillion a year by simply putting in front-end identity verification, eliminating self-certification, and monitoring the back end of the programs that are providing the benefits. Those 3 things.
How much money?
Do y'all hear that, guys? Oh, being asked $1 trillion. It was so important, guys, that Elon Musk even copied this and said, leading Democrats said there was no fraud in government payments. Maybe because they're getting their cut. That's what they're afraid at Doge will discover. Guys, you think this is stopping, like Trump is coming like a bull, just ramming through to get things done, because this just came out this morning. Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, to protect Pennsylvania's interest and the funded appropriated to us by Congress, they're talking about their federal dollars, I'm left with no choice but to pursue legal action to defend our Commonwealth. So now the governor of Pennsylvania is suing the Trump administration for freezing federal funds. Remember, Trump said, we're going to look into it. We're going to check it out because we need to see if this is going to the proper place. And now almost every single blue state Democratic governor is now suing Trump. That's where we're at, guys. I'm telling you, we're going to hit so much. There's going to be so much infighting. We are going to experience probably some of the biggest moments of history in the next couple of months. Why? Because they know that we've caught them. They know that there's no hiding it anymore. With Doge, we are 100% seeing the truth like never before. Watch this.
Everything we've talked about on the show, 100%, not 99, 100%. And Welch laid it out there. And I respect him for it. I can understand if you're not with us on the 2020 election being stolen. I got that. You're wrong, but you can have your opinion. It's a wrong opinion, but that's fine. That's what the country's about. They can't tell people what their opinion is, what they should think. That's what we fought a revolution over. But that revolution continues. And Kash Patel is an instrument. He is an instrument. He's going to be an instrument to clean out what has been allowed to deteriorate and become a weapon against the American people. And that's the American Gestapo, the FBI, which has almost no support among the American people today. I think the vote was 12-10. At the same time, Bobby Kennedy. This is living history.
Yes.
The show now, and we're glad to do it because I think we're only people to do it, we will cut in and out of these lives. And the show will be a tad choppy as we do it on live TV. But you're seeing history in the making. It's actually like you could be there during the American Revolution. And remember, you're just not sitting there with your channel changer. What is happening on Capitol Hill today, Bobby Kennedy's vote, Kash Patel's vote, is because of your agency. That's why I wanted stirring up beforehand. Your agency. The New York Magazine, New York Magazine, which is another, it's a left wing, very intelligently edited and written, has a great piece up today on what Democrats could learn from the war room, from me. And it all boils down to a populist movement versus the oligarchs in Silicon Valley, the techno-feudalists. And the key point, the buried lead he's got all the way down towards the end of the article, it's about human agency. The oligarchs in AI want to take your agency. They want to take your job. Remember, your job's not a job. It's the way you manifest yourself, your being in the world. It's what you've dedicated yourself to do. Some people hate their jobs. You shouldn't do that, but some people do. Some people think they're boxed in. Many people, and I think most people love their jobs because it's what they do. It's how one of the ways they manifest themselves, manifest their being. The oligarchs and artificial intelligence and the whole singularity want to take that from you. They're going to give agency to the algorithm in the algorithmic age. It's about your agency. Your agency in this show today on Capitol Hill in the Senate, which is the Human Resources Department by the Constitution, advice and consent.
Guys, thank you so much for your support. We got over 1,500 people watching, guys. If you love what you're seeing, smash that thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help out the channel so much.
They just consented to Kash Patel at the Committee of Jurisdiction, the Judiciary Committee, 12-10. It will now go to the floor, and Kash Patel will win the vote on the floor and become the next FBI director. Think about that for a second. Kash Patel, who you've known for years on this show, or if you've gone to Trump rallies or read his books or seen him on these great podcasts or interviewed by people, seen him on other Real America Voice. Bobby Kennedy the same way. The first time Bobby Kennedy was ever introduced to a MAGA audience was on this show years ago. Why? The book brought to me by Tony Lyons called The Case Against Anthony Fauci. It's about that. And it's published like on paper, the old Yellow Pages. It's like a phone book. It looks totally inaccessible. It's just page after page of quarter, and it's mesmerizing. The audience loved it. We had him on for a couple hours years ago on a Saturday. People couldn't get enough of it. RFK, what do we have a final vote?
Yeah, it's 51-46.
51-46. 51-46. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. This is historic. Mark the time.
Yes.
At 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time on the 13th of February. Here I was thinking 13 May. I hopefully didn't open the show with that. 13 February 2025. I was thinking May when somebody had contacted me right for the show. Historic day. Historic 24 hours. Yesterday, we finally gave the word to Europe, which we tried to many times in the Trump first term. We tried to on this show all the time. That you're not a vassal state. You're not a protectorate. You have to stand up and be, we're your ally, but we're not there to wet nurse you. And because you don't pay for your defense, you can give your citizens full health care, free college, pensions at 50, 8 weeks off in the summer fully paid. Our people don't have that.
Nope.
And that's not right, that we're underwriting your defense and you're skiing up in Gstaad and, you're hanging out in Tuscany, in Provence, in the West End of London. You're the elites living high on the hog. You go over there and you go to London and you see what used to be one of the greatest nations on earth, what's happened to London, the city, with all the wealth from all over the world and not an Englishman in sight. Is that what you want? Is that what you want your country to turn into? Where the world's global elites just come and do what they wilt in your own country, and you as a countryman, and you as someone that's been there for generations and generations and generations, and the families that fought the wars and gone to work and built a society and done everything on the civic society to build it, that you're just cast aside and mocked and ridiculed? Is that what a country is about? Is that sovereignty? I don't think so. That's what this fight's about. That's what on the different in the House today. In the House, in these where they have these conferences, they're doing a budget markup. And until somebody can convince me in something basic, and I used to do this and go into companies that need turnarounds, restructuring, debt restructurings. They get in there and they got every guy's got a different thing. In 3 years is going to be fine and everything. I go, stop, just stop. That's not relevant because you're not going to be here in 3 years. You need to get focused on today and tomorrow and the next day and how you're going to make it through. And how you're going to make it through is get down and preserve cash and figure out how you can use the little bit of cash you got and the cash flow you got to get through so you can see better days.
Guys, let me tell you this. We now have officially confirmed RFK Jr. as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Guys, you think if Trump is a wrecking ball to the entire Democratic Party, RFK is going to be a wrecking ball to all big pharma, to all of the big food, all these companies. I'm telling you what, in the next 2 years, get ready for the United States to completely change. And there's a lot of stuff we can get into, guys, when it comes to it was lobbyists that literally paid the government to design the food pyramid the way it was. It was all by design, guys. Let me tell you this. The good thing is that now we know things are going to get better, and we finally have another person added to the dream team. Sandy Valenzuela, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, heck yeah, let's go. Y'all show Sandy some love in the chat. We got breaking news over Zelensky made this comment that said, Zelensky said to Trump, Putin pretends to want peace because he's afraid of you. That's a good thing because he wasn't afraid of freaking Biden. And guess what? For all of you who like to see the government actually be audited and investigated, Doge officials have just entered the IRS building and expected they will audit the IRS momentarily, guys. This is breaking news, just happened moments ago. Why? Because I'm going to show you this again, guys. There is money that's been gone out. Biden wanted to hire 80,000 more IRS agents to go after your butt to make sure you were paying all your taxes so that he could keep doing this. The Doge discovers the Biden-Mayorkas illegal migration funding machine. They wanted to keep doing this. They wanted you to keep paying your taxes. And then, I have to show this again, guys. It's so important that this was said yesterday in Congress.
How much money do you calculate is wasted due to waste, fraud, and abuse in the entitlement programs each year?
Yeah, my number right now between federal, state, and local government is you can save $1 trillion a year by simply putting in front-end identity verification, eliminating self-certification, and monitoring the back end of the programs that are providing the benefits.
Remember, Doge came out a couple days ago and said there's $2.7 trillion. This was even said by White House Secretary. Government has sent $2.7 trillion in Medicaid and Medicare money overseas. And this was stated in the White House press briefing room. And this was all called out. Guys, this is the receipts. This is the truth that you're not going to see on mainstream media. Check this out.
Back to Doge just for a second. Earlier, the subcommittee headed by Chairman Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her staff discovered $2.7 trillion in improper payments to Medicare, Medicaid, overseas, to people who should not have gotten it. Some of this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this point?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that Doge is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly fraud. There's also a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so that's the thing. Those are the things that Doge is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that
Guys, you hear that? They're literally calling it out from the press briefing room. Yes, $2.7 trillion of waste. Medicare, Medicaid for overseas. You cannot make this stuff up, guys. And what I love is the Dream Team is growing. Thank you so much, Ava Benar, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Ava some love in the chat. Check this out.
Sanders is a former White House press secretary. How are you, Governor?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Do you have any trans sanctuary cities in Arkansas?
We most certainly don't. And all that I see when I'm watching these desperate political stunts is a reminder of how thankful I am that Donald Trump is in the White House. Honestly, it is sad and laughable what is taking place and just shows how out of touch the woke left really is. After losing so badly in November, you would think that they might try to change tactics, change courses, but they don't. While they're having these ridiculous displays, Donald Trump is literally freeing hostages and welcoming them into the White House. What a contrast, what a difference of what real leadership looks like. And I'm thankful that we have Donald Trump back there fighting for all of us.
Yeah, freeing hostages is not a Republican or Democrat issue. Neither is cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. Why do you think, Governor, the Democrats are moving radical left? They just got whacked in November. And now we're hearing about reparations, trans sanctuary cities, and God knows what else.
Guys, I hope you heard that. We had sanctuary cities for illegal migrants, but now these blue states are trying to create trans sanctuary cities because Trump is, he's fighting against that. I want to say thank you so much for all your support. Karen C4, let's go Doge. Let's go. Y'all show Karen some love in the chat. And guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, a reason I asked this and I asked the channel for this because, guys, it helps out, guys. It helps to grow our channel, and it takes 2 seconds to do, but just that's me being transparent with you, and I appreciate your support.
I'm honestly almost at a loss for words. It's truly baffling to see that they don't understand where the American public is. Donald Trump won an overwhelming victory because people wanted something different. They wanted somebody who would actually secure our borders instead of opening them up wide. They wanted somebody who would be respected across the globe. They wanted somebody who would bring our people back home, bring law and order to our country, and get rid of the absolute waste. America's $36 trillion in debt. We should be looking at all of the waste and the fraud. The president is spot on to go after all of these insane programs, get rid of them, and make sure we're actually using taxpayer money wisely. He has not stopped since the day he stepped into office, and I don't think he's going to over the next 4 years. I think that the Democrats are terrified at what all he's going to find. Maybe they're using this as a distraction. It's really the only thing I can think of that makes sense why they're continuing down this road.
Yeah, they definitely are acting guilty, like they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Real quick, because we got to go. What is the one thing you notice differently about Donald Trump in the second term?
Look, I think this is a person who now has been there and has experience. He is moving at a rapid lightning speed at which Joe Biden didn't do in all 4 years of office what President Trump has already been able to accomplish just in the first few weeks. I think this is a person who is motivated and has a very clear priority list, and he's going to get it all done and get it done quickly.
All right, checking a lot of boxes. Good to see you, Governor.
Guys, let me tell you this. It's beautiful. What I'm showing you guys, this is what's happening right now. Doge discovers the Biden-Mayorkas illegal migration funding machine. The Democrats are getting so desperate right now that they're saying things that they shouldn't be saying. Brian McGavick, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Brian some love in the chat. And Brian, I will check out Midlife Stockman and see what we can do with that, if there's any opportunities with that. But guys, so they have been saying things and calling. There is now investigations into Representative Robert Garcia because he said that we need to bring weapons against Elon Musk. Listen to this, guys. This is how desperate, how crazy they're getting when you start threatening pretty much Donald Trump's best friend right now. You better watch out. Listen to this.
For us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an
actual weapons
fight for democracy, for the future of this country. And it's important to push back on the chairperson of this committee. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about having decorum, about bipartisanship. This is the person that lies more than anybody else in the...
You hear this, guys? So he literally said we need to bring actual weapons. What the heck are they talking about? I wanted to show you this too. So remember how I told you they're trying to pass a new bill right now? They're trying to pull over 3 Republicans to the Democratic side to pass the taxpayer data. Here, I'll blow this up. The Taxpayer Data Protection Act. This would ensure that Doge, Elon Musk, anybody on his team will not be allowed to move, get close to any of the federal departments that have citizen data. So like the Treasury, the IRS, the Department of Education, any of these. And what they're trying to keep Elon Musk and Doge team from auditing them. This is what the Democrats are trying to do to fight against our transparency that the American people want. Elon Musk came out, guys, look at this. I'll show you the receipt. 217 million followers. This is Elon Musk. Came out and said, any given law will do the opposite of its name. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act? Which was actually the inflation. Yeah. The one this guy wants to pass is called taxpayer protection, which means its real goal is giving taxpayers the shaft. What he really cares about is hiding the biggest scam in human history. And I just showed you earlier, guys, $1 trillion. That's where we're at right now. $1 trillion. And not only that. Oh, whoa. Sorry, guys. Well, I got a new camera. I don't know why it's automatically zooming in and out. But yeah, there we go. They're investigating the weaponization of government, guys. Watch this.
In the great movie Casablanca, we encounter the phrase, "I'm shocked to find gambling here." I have to say, sitting through this hearing and listening to our Democrat colleagues say, I'm shocked that anyone would think there was weaponization at the Department of Justice or the FBI. It makes me wonder where my Democrat colleagues have been the last 4 years. In over 200 years of our nation's history, we've had 47 presidents. Mr. Blanche, of those 47 presidents, how many not named Donald John Trump have been indicted?
0.
How many presidents not named Donald Trump have been prosecuted?
0.
How many not named Donald J. Trump have had FBI agents arrive at their home and rifle through their home?
0.
Throughout 4 years of the brazen weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI, Senate Democrats sat by meekly and mutely. Understand, President Trump wasn't indicted once, he wasn't indicted twice, he wasn't indicted 3 times, 4 separate times by partisan Democrat prosecutors who were terrified that the American people would vote to re-elect him. You heard just a minute ago my friend from Vermont ask you to defend the good men and women of the FBI. I agree, you should defend the good men and women of the FBI, and I'll tell you, I've heard from FBI agents who are horrified at an institution that had built a reputation for integrity being cheapened by being turned into a political weapon to attack the opposition of the Democrat White House. The single biggest thing, Mr. Blanche, you can do to protect the good men and women of the FBI is to restore integrity to the FBI and end the weaponization that has caused half of the country to no longer trust what used to be the premier law enforcement agency in the world.
Wow.
For 4 years, we saw the Biden Justice Department happily weaponize that agency to go after their political opponents. We saw Mark Houck, a pro-life protester who faced a pro-abortion protester who screamed and shoved his son, and he pushed the man back. In response for pushing a man back who had screamed at his 12-year-old son, the Biden Department of Justice and FBI sent an army of FBI agents at the crack of dawn to his house, machine guns drawn, to arrest him in front of his 7 kids. Mr. Houck had, by the way, offered, through his counsel, to turn himself in. In your many years as a prosecutor, have you ever sent an army of FBI agents to arrest someone who's offered to turn themselves in peacefully?
Wow.
No. And yet no one at the Department of Justice seemed troubled by that. They happily authorized that. And not a single Democrat on this committee, to the best of my knowledge, has ever asked one damn question about it.
Get him, Cruz.
When the National Association of School Boards sent a letter to Joe Biden complaining that parents were unhappy by their radical policies that were happening to children, within days, the White House sent that to the Department of Justice, and days later, the Attorney General sent a formal memo to the FBI saying, target parents. I want you to go after parents who are exercising their First Amendment rights. And we've had moms and dads all over the country who've had the G-men come knocking on their door because they had the temerity to exercise free speech. Is targeting moms and dads who go to school boards and engage in peaceful speech, is that a permissible use of law enforcement?
Not in my view, Senator.
You know, if you look at this election, there are a number of issues on which there is a clear and unmistakable mandate. There is an unmistakable mandate to secure the border. Because for 4 years, Joe Biden and the Democrats defied the law. Federal immigration law is clear. Illegal immigrants who are apprehended shall be detained and shall be deported. Mr. Blanche, when the law uses the word shall, is that typically mandatory?
It is.
And what Joe Biden did is something no president in the history of our country has ever done. He refused to follow the law, released...
Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Got over 2,100 people watching. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, we can hit 2,000 likes on stream. Let's do it, guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Millions of illegal immigrants into America. He released murderers. He released rapists. He released child predators. He released Venezuelan gang members. If Joe Biden and the Democrats had been willing to follow the law, Laken Riley would still be alive instead of being murdered by a criminal illegal alien released by Joe Biden and the Democrats. If Joe Biden and the Democrats had followed the law, Jocelyn Nungary in my hometown of Houston, beautiful 12-year-old girl, raped and murdered by 2 illegal immigrants, Venezuelan gang members, Joe Biden had in custody and released. No president has ever done what Joe Biden and the Democrats did. And by the way, not a one of my Democrat colleagues, to the best of my recollection, ever asked one question about why the Department of Justice was refusing to follow the law. Mr. Blanche, is the Department of Justice doing its job if it refuses to follow the law and defies federal immigration law?
Not in my view, it is not.
We have a clear and unmistakable mandate to the voters. We will secure the border. We will stop releasing criminals and rapists and child molesters into our community. And there is a clear mandate. We will end the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Does this committee have your commitment that you will be faithful to the law, to the Constitution, and you will bring integrity back to the Department of Justice?
Absolutely.
One final question, Mrs. Slater. You and I have talked about how I think the single biggest threat to free speech is big tech censorship. Please give this committee your views on the relevance of antitrust law to stopping big tech censorship, silencing the free speech of American people, and what are the conceivable array of tools and arrays of remedies under the antitrust laws?
Well, thank you, Senator. We did indeed talk about this. And I think we also agree that there are other tools available beyond antitrust. But what we agreed in principle is that in markets that are highly concentrated, conservative viewpoints or anybody's viewpoint can be quickly throttled or suppressed when there is market power on back of that. Someone can be disappeared from the internet quite easily. When there are only 2 platforms providing news, for example, to the American people.
And so the remedies are potential remedies?
Well, as with any antitrust enforcement matter.
Guys, let me tell you this. You think this just broke, guys, what I'm about to show you right now. This just broke. It's so obvious that it's borderline, like, it's borderline childlike, that they're this blatantly just covering up their fraud. So I showed you earlier that Doge discovers the Biden-Mayorkas illegal migration funding machine, right? Check this out. This just broke. FEMA accused of illegally deleting records and wiping chats. A watchdog group alleges FEMA erased an LGBT employee chat as Trump took office, possibly violating federal record-keeping laws. They're deleting records. They're deleting chats. They're trying to cover it up. Biden, Mayorkas, we're all in on this. This is going to be the biggest scandal in American history. This is going to make Watergate looked like he walked on the neighbor's yard. Guys, listen to Andy, thank you so much for your support. Said remembering Rigo, which came before Doge, Al Gore, and Bill Clinton had cost-cutting plan in 1990s. They cut $108 billion and fired federal employees. Let's go. And Paul Carmichael, thank you so much for your support. Y'all show Andy and Paul some love in the chat. Guys, the United States is changing. What you're about to hear next is literally the next step, the next evolution, guys, and what's about to happen to all the big companies in the United States. This is huge. Check this out.
She's not giving you great answers. You've been a defender of people's personal liberty, but now we're in a jam. The oligarchs have failed to deliver, and now they're telling us they're coming back and saying, oh, you know, sorry it didn't work out. You know, maybe China's stolen the march on us. We need a $500 billion to a $1 trillion bailout from American taxpayers, people making $35,000 a year. The hardworking citizens in Missouri that don't have any options, no warrants, no participation. They're coming back and saying, Senator Hawley, you know, we didn't quite pull this off. As powerful as we are, and as much benefits you've given us, we need a $1 trillion bailout to compete against the Japanese. Your thoughts, sir?
Outrageous. I think it's totally outrageous. And you just put your finger on it, Steve. I mean, what they're doing is these tech companies and AI in particular, how does it run? It runs on our personal information. It runs on our stuff. So they're going out and they're taking information from workers. They're taking the personal data of every parent, of every child in America. And if you want to try to protect it, you can't, because the monopolists have all of the power. And I know what they're going to do with it. They're going to use it to take away our jobs next. They're already using it to create chatbots that tell our kids how to, they're using it to sell drugs to our kids online. And if anybody questions that, it's like, oh, too bad, because you can't sue them. Congress has given the power to these companies such that they cannot be sued, they cannot be challenged in court, and now they're saying we need, another $500 billion, $1 trillion from the federal government, taxpayer money, who knows what, in order to catch up to China. And Steve, you and I have talked about this before. They said to us earlier, if you'll just give us all these protections, then we'll create the greatest technology in the world and we'll be number one. That hasn't happened. Now China is outpacing us, and now they want more. I have to tell you, I am really concerned about this. And I think we've got to hold these monopolists, these companies accountable. We cannot let these robber barons control our government, control our economy. It's dangerous.
Senator Hawley, I want you to describe to people the lonely fight, because they've got this city locked up. The imperial capital is locked up, you know, and their business partners. Talk to people about the lobbyists, the pressure, the communication, and what happens in the cloakroom when your senator is saying, you know, Senator Hawley, you're right, Josh, you're right, but I can't go there. How lonely is this fight, and how long are the odds?
Nobody has more money than big tech, Steve, and nobody has more money than big tech and AI. Can I just say something about the AI companies?
Guys, and I want you to know, remember, Apple, $3 trillion company. Amazon, $3 trillion company. Tesla, what, $2 trillion, $1 trillion company? All the biggest companies in the world are tech companies, but yeah, they just stood before Congress asking Congress for $500 to $1 trillion from the taxpayers so that they could go and try to beat China. You can't make this stuff up, guys. And if it was the Democrats, just like Biden gave all those billions of dollars to build the manufacturing microchip, all facilities, they would have already given it to them.
And the tech companies, it's all the same people. You know, we hear this story told to us, oh, AI is going to be great because it's going to allow the little guy to get a leg up. Well, not so far, because so far who controls AI are all the same cast of characters. It's Mark Zuckerberg, it's the Google CEO, it's the Microsoft CEO, it's all the same people. They're the ones who are leading AI. They're the ones who are controlling AI. And they spend more money on lobbyists, Steve, than anybody else in America. They spend more money trying to control Capitol Hill. I've said before, you ought to just put a sign up on the door of the United States Senate that says, property of big tech.
What?
Because they own this building where I'm sitting right now. They own it. They have bought it. They have paid for it, and nothing crosses the Senate floor that they don't approve of, at least when it comes to tech. They have veto power. We got to take that away from them.
Well, Senator Hawley, hang on for a second. Hang on. They had their Damascene moment. It was about 10 or 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time when Pennsylvania fell on the 5th of November. They've converted. They're now aren't they MAGA? I saw them at the inauguration. They're all there. They're all genuflecting. Aren't they really on our team now, sir?
Yeah, that's what they want us to believe, Steve. And so what they're telling us now is, hey, look over here. Don't mind the man behind the curtain. You know, don't look at that. Look over here. We're really for you. We've been with you all along. That's what they're telling MAGA voters now. We were really with you. It was just the nasty Biden administration. They were so mean to us. Otherwise, we would have been with you. Steve, you and I both know, number one, that's not true. Number two, they still have all the power. They still control all the information. They can still control the flow of news. If they want to turn on the censorship machine tomorrow, they can do it because they still have the power. And AI is going to give these same people even more power. The Zuckerbergs, the Googles, the Microsofts, even more power. And that's why, Steve, I come back to we got to have a power revolution here. It's got to go from these robber barons to the American people. We need to transfer power from these powerful monopolists to the American people. If we don't do that as conservatives, as populists, then we've really failed.
Senator, the longest journey starts with the first step. What is your first step? What's your recommendation, and where do people go to join your cause here, sir?
Well, I think the first thing we ought to do is we need to give everyday Americans, individual Americans, the...
Guys, just want to say thank you so much for your support, guys. We got almost 1,900 people watching. Guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, we're so close. Let's get to 2,000 likes on stream. We can do it, guys. This is so amazing. Thank you so much for your support.
Power to get into court to sue these people right now.
Wow.
If they come after you, let's say that there's a chat bot that tells your child how to, and this has happened, by the way. If that happens, your kid is harmed, God forbid. You as a parent, what can you do? Nothing. You know, I've talked to parents, Steve, who had kids who they had fentanyl sold to them on Snapchat. To take one example, they went and met with the CEOs of Snapchat. And do you know what the CEO told them? They said, well, you can't sue us. So sorry, you're out of luck. Steve, we got to change that. We have got to give working people the power to get into court and protect their rights against these monopolists. It's a tale as old as time. If you give working people the power to protect their own rights, they'll do it. But right now they have no power. So step number one is open the courthouse doors and give individual Americans the right to sue these big companies.
Guys, let me tell you, it's coming. Right now, I just told you breaking news. Doge officials have just entered the IRS building. It is expected they're going to audit the whole entire IRS federal department. Trump had a word to say on it. Just want to say thank you so much to Andy for the super chat. Said Trump should send the military to stop these rats from deleting these records. 100%, guys. If you don't know what he's talking about, I'll show you in a moment. Guys, people are being caught deleting massive amounts of records. What are they trying to do? You only delete it if you know that they're going to come, and they're going to come for you. Listen to this.
Mr. President, Doge workers arrived today, Gavin Clagger and others arrived today at the IRS. Do you expect to close the IRS, or what are you expecting?
No, I don't expect it, but I think that the Internal Revenue Service will be looked at like everybody else. Just about everybody's going to be looked at. So it's they're doing a hell of a job. It's an amazing job they're doing. And you know that force is building these. I call it the force of super geniuses, but it's building. And you know they go up and they talk to some of the people about certain deals, and the people get all tongue-tied. They can't talk because these people get it. They're very smart people.
Guys, why do they get tongue-tied? Because they don't have any basis. They don't have any grounds for, remember, the Treasury doesn't even track the checks that are sent out. They're all blank checks, guys. The fraud, waste, and abuse is real. When we saw, and I showed you this earlier, guys, that Doge discovers the Biden Mayorkas illegal funding, migration funding machine, this is breaking news. Then you've got FEMA accused of illegally deleting records and wiping chats. We've caught them, guys. And what I love is that Doge is finding them and getting them at their own departments. And we have people like Rand Paul and Jim Jordan who are getting them in Congress. Listen to this.
Committee will come to order. Today, we are going to dive into reckless and wasteful spending of our federal government, particularly when it comes to foreign aid.
The United States should not be the sugar daddy for the entire world, especially not for countries and organizations who act contrary to our nation's beliefs. Our country is $36 trillion in debt, yet we continue to send billions of dollars overseas, often funding projects that are not just useless, but in many cases actively harmful. Taking the path to fiscal responsibility is often a lonely journey, but thanks to Elon Musk and Doge, they've brought to light the waste that I've been highlighting for over the last decade. Every year I release my Festivus report to expose the ridiculous spending of the federal government, and this past year was no exception. I uncovered over $1 trillion in government waste, with the State Department and USAID being some of the worst offenders. Let me give you just a few examples of what these unelected bureaucrats are spending your hard-earned money on. $4.8 million went to Ukraine's public affairs office in Kiev to fund social media influencers. Instead of protecting our own border, $2.1 million was sent to Paraguay to enhance their border security. USAID also funded a group of Ukrainian women-led designers to travel to the Paris Fashion Show. I don't know about you, but I'd imagine Ukrainian women have more important things to worry about than appearing in the Paris Fashion Show.
Wow.
USAID spent $2 million on transgender surgeries, hormone therapy, and gender-affirming care in Guatemala. $3 million was spent to promote girl-centric climate action in Brazil. And I'd love to picture what a conversation about girl-centered climate action looks like. It's like, hey, Barbie, do you know what girl-centered climate change is? Since when do we believe arguments need to be tailored for girls to understand? How insulting to women at large that they think there are special arguments for girls to understand that are different than boys. $25,000 to fund a transgender opera in Colombia. Was nobody in Colombia willing to buy a ticket? USAID spent $32,000 in Peru to create a comic featuring a trans hero to address social and mental health issues. What does that have to do with diplomacy? $20,000 to fund a DEI program for a drag theater in Ecuador. $20 million was spent to produce a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. USAID spent $6 million to promote a project boosting sustainable tourism in Egypt. I guess the U.S. is now the travel agent for the entire world since they spent $50 million on Tunisia's tourism, even though it's already one of the most visited countries in Africa.
Wow.
USAID gave $87.9 million to help Afghans farm, and incidentally, farm poppy, the plant from which opium is extracted. As of 2021, Afghanistan supplied 90% of the world's heroin. I thought the saying in the U.S. was just say no to drugs. How about we just say no to wasteful foreign aid? $70,000 for a live musical event to promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in Ireland. State Department paid $330,000 to compile a disinformation index to blacklist conservative media outlets. USAID funneled over $54 million to EcoHealth Alliance, funding the very organization linked to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the likely origin of the COVID-19 pandemic. Disgraceful.
Wow.
$15 million was awarded to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan to distribute oral contraceptives and condoms. There's still a $3 billion fund for Afghan reconstruction that have tried to take that money to pay for other things that the government is spending money on, and yet there's been resistance by the other side to deplete that fund and say, we're done funding things in Afghanistan. This is just the tip of the iceberg. These are taxpayer dollars being used to fund ideologically misguided, ineffective, and unnecessary projects, thanks to the blundering bureaucracy, while our own citizens struggle to put food on the table. This is not what our government was designed to do. The U.S. government is not a charity, and it should not be doling out cash to foreign organizations, some of which actively oppose the United States with no oversight. And we don't have the money to give. We're borrowing the money we send. We need to ask a simple question. Why are we borrowing money to send money overseas? Even if USAID eliminated the crazy left-wing grants for trans operas, it still makes no sense to borrow money to then turn around and send it overseas. Borrowing money to send as charity is like the worker who has no money left after paying for their food, rent, and gas, saying, oh, well, I see this homeless person, I have such great sympathy. I'll go to the bank and I'll borrow $1,000 to give to this person. That's what we are doing. We can't pay for our own, and we are borrowing the money we send overseas. That money could be used to pay down our $36 trillion debt and take care of the American people, the very people who actually pay these taxes in the first place. It's time for a real change. America should not continue to be the world's piggy bank. It's time to end the waste of foreign aid and end the bureaucracy and for once do what's right by the American taxpayer.
Wow. Doesn't he sound like a true patriot, guys? It is just beautiful that we are living through this time now. Imagine if Kamala Harris was the president. None of this would be happening. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. Got over 2,100 people. Y'all are amazing. You're the best. If you're not subscribed, guys, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, we're so close to 2,000 likes on stream, guys. That's our goal every day because guys, in transparency, it helps to grow the channel. It helps to get these videos out there. And we want to keep bringing the truth to you. We want to keep serving you every day with the top news, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. We want to thank all of our members of the channel. Want to thank all. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. Remember, in about a week, little over a week, we're going to be donating live on stream. Because when you give in your membership or when you give a super chat, we take that money and then we donate it to charity live on stream. And together, guys, we have given almost $25,000 live on stream. You've seen it. You've seen me do it. And that's what this channel is about. We're reporting the news and we're giving back to charity. I want to give some love to Brian McGavick, Straight Shooter, Sandy Valenzuela, Ava Benar, Karen C4, Andy, Paul Carmichael, Chip Trapp, and Lay Lewis, who said there's no telling who all the Biden administration tried to sell us to. Our country has suffered enough. 100%. And we are in a new age right now. We're in the MAGA age. It's not, to me, Trump, he led it. He's the leader. He's brought the vision. But other people are championing the MAGA movement. And we've got enough support behind it with the American people to actually make things come alive. I love it. We're here for it. We love you. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.